The most dangerous person in any conflict is not the loudest and not the strongest, but the calmest. Miyamoto Musashi understood this paradox and built a systematic approach to mastering emotion that his opponents couldn't overcome. That approach helped him win 60 lethal duels in a row. His four-step system for keeping composure works in any modern conflict, and it begins with a principle most people never consider: emotional distance. When someone yells at you or throws down a challenge, your body floods with stress hormones. Your heart speeds up, your muscles tense, your thinking narrows. It's a trap most people fall into as soon as a conflict begins. Musashi discovered that the key to victory wasn't superior sword technique, but the ability to step beyond that emotional storm. In his notes, he describes looking at conflict from above, as if watching clouds drift by, without becoming part of the weather. Think back to the last time someone made you angry. In that moment, you became your anger. Your words, actions, and thoughts fell in line with the feeling, rather than with your real aims. That's exactly what Musashi's opponents did. They became their anger, their fear, or their pride. Emotional distance means creating space between what happens and how you respond. When someone insults you, instead of snapping back, you notice the feeling rising in you. I'm noticing anger, you think, not I am angry. That tiny shift changes everything. Musashi honed this stance by facing ever more dangerous situations while holding that mental position. In his most famous duel with Sasaki Kojiro, his opponent arrived irritated and impatient. Musashi deliberately showed up late, winding Kojiro tighter and tighter. While Kojiro became his anger, Musashi stayed detached from his own, seeing the entire conflict clearly. To build this skill, start with a simple practice. Whenever you feel strong emotion in any conflict, even the smallest, say to yourself, I notice I'm feeling anger. It creates a sliver of space between you and the feeling. With practice, that space grows. Modern research backs Musashi's intuition. Brain scans show that people who label their emotions by name activate the prefrontal cortex, the region for rational thinking, which calms the emotional centers. That's why therapists teach patients to name their feelings under stress. But emotional distance alone isn't enough. Once you've made space, you must understand what is likely to happen next. That brings us to Musashi's second principle, anticipatory awareness. Musashi called it foreknowledge, the ability to sense what will happen before it does. In the Book of Five Rings, he writes about anticipating an opponent's movement. This isn't mind reading, it's understanding human patterns. When a person is angry, he follows predictable paths. When someone feels threatened, their reactions narrow to a few likely options. Musashi studied those patterns obsessively. Think of a skilled chess player seeing 5 moves ahead. He isn't guessing. He recognizes patterns and probable replies. Musashi applied the same approach to people's behavior in conflict. Our bodies respond differently to sudden stress than to stress we expect. When conflict blindsides you, the body dumps stress hormones all at once, triggering the familiar fight or flight feeling. But when you anticipate a challenge, your brain prepares more carefully, releasing smaller amounts of stress hormones that sharpen attention without fogging the mind. In his hardest duels, Musashi studied opponents in advance. He learned their favorite techniques, their temperaments, even how they handled pressure. Before facing the aggressive Sasaki Kojiro, Musashi carved a wooden sword while riding a boat to the duel. He made it slightly longer than Kojiro's famed long blade, knowing that extra reach would give him a small edge. You can develop this awareness with a simple drill. Before any potentially difficult conversation, spend 30 seconds asking 3 questions. What emotional state is this person likely in? What do they truly want from this interaction? What are the 3 most likely reactions they might show? This works because it trains your brain to recognize patterns. A boss who criticizes everything will likely criticize your new idea. A conflict-avoidant friend will probably change the subject if you bring up something sharp. By forecasting those reactions, you remove the emotional surprise. A modern example confirms the principle. In high-stakes negotiations, experienced FBI hostage negotiators spend significant time analyzing the person they're dealing with. They study past reactions to predict behavior. That foreknowledge lets them remain calm where others would panic, choosing words and tactics that lower tension rather than inflame it. Anticipatory awareness turns conflicts from chaotic emotional flare-ups into more predictable situations you can steer. Even with distance and foresight, Musashi knew a third element was essential for full steadiness under pressure. The third principle is strategic breathing. In his writings, Musashi emphasized that breath control is necessary to keep clarity in the fight. He noticed that when swordsmen began to fear or rage, their breathing changed first, becoming shallow, fast, uneven. Musashi taught that by regulating the breath, you regulate the mind. In training, he paid close attention to breathing exercises while executing sword techniques. Your breath is directly tied to your emotional state. When you're calm, you breathe slow and deep. When you're afraid or angry, breathing grows out and shallow. The link runs both ways. By consciously changing your breathing, you can change how you feel. This is the nervous system at work. Fast, shallow breathing activates the sympathetic system, the fight-or-flight response. Slow, deep breathing activates the parasympathetic system, the rest and digest mode. One fuels panic, the other cultivates calm. Musashi used a specific rhythm for charged moments. Before key exchanges, he took one deliberate breath. Inhale through the nose for a count of 4. Brief hold. Exhale through the mouth for a count of 6. You can use this in modern conflicts. When tension rises in a meeting, in an argument, or before delivering bad news, use the 4 to 6 rhythm. Inhale through the nose for 4 seconds. Exhale through the mouth for 6. Even a single cycle noticeably settles you. Emotional distance gives you space from reaction. Anticipatory awareness prepares you for what's next. Strategic breathing provides the physiological calm to think clearly. The final principle ties everything together, giving your newfound steadiness direction. The fourth principle is purposeful action. In his writings, Musashi stressed that a clear aim is stronger than any emotion. While his opponents often fought from anger or fear, Musashi always fought with a specific objective in mind. This focus on aim appears throughout the Book of Five Rings. He writes that a warrior should not strive to strike first, but should stay focused on the ultimate goal. For Musashi, every motion and decision served something larger than merely winning the current exchange. Having a clear aim changes the course of a conflict entirely. When someone challenges you and you react emotionally, you're playing by their rules. When you stay anchored to a larger aim, you guide the interaction. Think of arguments that spin out of control. They start with a concrete issue and quickly devolve into old grievances, personal jabs, and hurt. That happens because both people lose sight of any aim except self-defense or scoring a hit. A simple technique to preserve purposeful focus comes straight from Musashi's approach. Before any potential conflict, define your true aim in one clear sentence. Ask, what outcome will genuinely serve my long-term goals? Keep that aim in mind throughout. When emotions flare, silently repeat your aim. It anchors your attention so you're not swept away by momentary feelings. Your words and actions then match the aim rather than your impulses. Purposeful action doesn't mean ignoring emotion. It means your emotions serve your objective, not the other way around. This is the culmination of Musashi's system. Emotional distance creates space. Anticipatory awareness grants foresight. Strategic breathing sustains calm. Purposeful action directs that calm toward meaningful results. What makes these 4 principles truly powerful is their connection to something deeper than conflict management. They point to a fundamental truth about human nature that most never realize. They map directly onto the Buddhist idea of non-attachment. By creating emotional distance, you practice non-attachment to reactive thoughts. Through anticipatory awareness, you step beyond the narrowness of the immediate moment. With strategic breathing, you witness the impermanence of emotional states. With purposeful action, you align with the Taoist notion of Wu Wei, natural, unforced action that follows the grain of the world. This approach is especially relevant now because we live in an age of perpetual conflict. Social media algorithms nudge us toward arguments. Politics thrives on division. Even personal relationships strain under higher stress and thinner patience. A modern person faces more conflicts in a day than Musashi may have faced in a month. The great irony is that although we need emotional control more than ever, we practice it less than ever. People react instantly to provocations, fire off angry messages, post emotional comments, or turn minor disagreements into fights that wreck relationships. The one who stays calm in such an environment doesn't just win arguments. He reaches a level of clarity others can't even perceive. And there's one more truth about mastery that few discuss. It reveals how many conflicts are unnecessary. When you stop reacting automatically, you discover many fights dissolve without you. The truly strong person is not the one who wins every conflict, but the one who enters only the conflicts that actually matter.